This episode is brought to you by Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency. If you're looking for an insurance agent with a personal touch, someone willing to have the real conversations about what's important to you, assistance with submitting claims, and offering quality coverage options, Farm Bureau Financial Services, Zach Miller Agency may be the place for you. Whether you need home, auto, farm, commercial, life, or health insurance, we're here for you. Check us out at agentzachmiller.com. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agriculture Insurance Company.
My next guest was one of our early interviews on this adventure last year. He has a successful podcast of his own, and he is a financial planner here in Norfolk, Nebraska. Adam, thanks for making time to be here again.
Thanks for having me back, guys. Looking forward to it.
No problem. This is a lot of fun. I'm Zach Miller with my co-host Vance Neidig,
Thanks for coming on again, Adam.
and we are touching base with Adam Olson today. I can't believe it's already been a year.
Dude, when you said that, I was like, I'm pretty sure that was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Right? I know, exactly.
Didn't seem like that long ago.
It has been a year.
I don't think it's been quite a year, but I think you were mid-December. I'm
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
sure. So
Before
kind of
Christmas,
crazy.
just before Christmas.
I think it's what it was, yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's a lot of fun. How has your 2024 gone for you?
Really quick.
Yeah.
You know, once you have kids and they get involved with stuff, throw work on top of that, family on top of that, and it's just like, boom. It just
Yeah.
goes so fast.
When you're doing a podcast too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, you got a lot going on.
Yeah, so I do podcasts. I've been focusing a little more on YouTube lately too. Just a little easier with marketing, reaching people with that, I feel like, for my particular business. But yeah, throw all that together and it keeps you hopping.
You got some good views on some of those videos, I noticed.
Yeah, so I got a firm that I work with that helps me with like topics and thumbnails and like, I don't know if you guys know, but like there's the whole like algorithm to YouTube.
Yeah.
So like you have to do certain things within the first 2 days of the video to make it pop.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
I'm
mean,
not smart enough for that. But
no, like they
not
talked-
yet, anyway.
Yeah, they talked to me about it. And I'm like, yeah, just can you handle it?
Can you handle it?
You do it. Have you been getting getting new clients from them? Any of them, or
So like the company I work with, they structure it to where, how do they want to say it? Like you build credibility for like 3 to 6 months with your channel, and then you do like, they call it a CTA, a call to action at that time.
yeah?
So like next year they're building a website for me that's going to be designed for that call to action. So yeah, I'm
sweet.
looking forward to it.
That's good. And if I remember, you can pretty much do business any state,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you can pull from
Yeah.
anywhere
Which
with that.
honestly, I like it. You know, I feel like working with people, whether it's like Texas, Colorado, Utah, Montana, wherever it is, it's just cool talking to different people from different areas because they have such a different perspective on things.
Do you have a lot of clients that are kind of
Yeah, so
all
like
throughout the United
our, I would say my main territory is obviously Nebraska.
Yeah.
Like Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota is where our main client base is. But then we've expanded pretty heavily into like Colorado, Utah, Montana, Texas. Yeah,
That's interesting.
Kind of work with people all over the place, though.
do you really have to travel much for that? I mean, obviously you can do it
No,
over the internet.
Like I always tell people, like I would if I could, I would. But I got 4 little kids at home, and like I want to have a life, and you know, I'll meet with you anytime, 8 to 5 Central Time, Monday through Friday. But those evenings are not for
Right.
that
Yeah.
type of thing.
Well, I appreciate making time for us.
No, I'm sorry. And again, sorry about the time.
Oh no, it's
That's
all
fine.
good. We can do it about any time. How have you been kind of getting? Did you know all your guests ahead of time?
Well, like you know, like you guys kind of do it. You know, like oh, I see this guy's doing this out there. That'd be a cool guy to catch on.
Yeah.
Or like we have conferences that we go to from time to time, and so like I heard a guy speak at our conference, and I was like, I jumped him. I was like, I would love to have you on my podcast. He's coming out this Thursday. Just a really good guy. Does really neat things with like family and legacy and heritage.
Yeah.
Educating kids and families about money. And so I have him on. He's coming out Thursday.
Is that one of the sneak peeks that kind of came out?
Yeah.
I think I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that one today, actually.
Yeah, super. Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. It was an awesome one to do. But yeah, you know, you just kind of run into people and you're like, you know what? I'd love to have that one on. Or like in my world, like there's topics that are front of mind a lot of times, like whether it's the election or taxes or,
Yeah.
you know, like you guys, politics, you know,
Yeah.
you have
Yep.
the candidates on.
Yep. What's been like the good and the bad of the adventure that you've been on?
As you know, like sometimes it's kind of frustrating if you put work into it and you're like, it flopped. And you're like, dude, I thought that would have been awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, like you guys know too, like, oh, we hit it out of the park with that episode.
Yeah.
And like,
Yep.
it didn't hit like you wanted it to.
That happens a lot with our little, like we do a lot of TikTok videos,
Yeah.
little shorts.
Yeah.
And I'll think one's going to do amazing.
Yeah.
And then it's like
always
one
a
of the
different one
worst
that
one
does
that we
it.
did. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
It's nuts. It's so weird to me. But it all depends on when it takes off.
Yeah.
You know, I still haven't quite got that algorithm yet either.
No.
That or YouTube.
But like, you guys enjoy doing this.
Oh yeah, we would
it's
do
fun.
it if we didn't have any listeners.
Yeah. And so like, that's kind of like, I enjoy like educating people about those financial concepts. And like, to me, it's easier to do one thing once and have 1,000 people listen to it than to say it 1,000 different times in one-on-one conversations.
Right. What do you think are some of the misconceptions about the difficulty? People say, "Oh, anybody can have a podcast."
I mean, anybody can, but like, maybe nobody listens to it.
Right.
And like, I don't have crazy reach with mine.
Right. Well,
You know, it's
pretty good.
I get a couple hundred per episode.
yeah.
Usually, is like
You
what
get a couple
average is.
one over 1,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I had this latest one I had over 2,000 on
There you go.
YouTube, which was awesome.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
We haven't hit that quite yet. And we had one episode and it did it on Facebook.
Oh, really?
It was the Shane Clausen right before.
Because you did your Facebook Live.
The
Because we
live
did the
one,
live version
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought that was awesome what you guys did with everything there. I thought it really helped people.
I hope so.
I hope so. That's
At
kind of why
least-
we wanted to do it.
At least from my end, it did.
And that's why
Good.
we looked into we wanted everybody on. We weren't going to just pick one or two people. Like, we talked to everybody. Everybody had an open invitation
Yeah.
to come on in all those races. So
Yep.
we left it open to them to make the decision if they were going to come on or not. So, but we wanted, we talk about it all the time. We want people to vote, but we also want people to be informed. Mm-hmm. And then I personally liked what we did because we weren't really attacking anybody. You get somebody in a long form, you realize people are people.
Yeah.
Like, you may have different views than me, and we're going to hash it out for a little bit. We're probably going to have a beer afterwards and be fine with it.
You'll find a common ground.
Yeah, we're going to find, exactly.
Especially when it's like this.
Correct. Yeah, you're just going to, it's going to be whatever. Maybe heated for a minute or two, and then it's over.
That's why we like
and
the
then
long
people
form.
enjoy that. They like to know, like, if people are genuine. You can tell when people are genuine in a long form thing because their views, you're not going to be able to lie your way through an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care how good a liar you are, you can't do it.
Yeah.
So that's why I enjoy that.
No,
On the
you're
political
1,000%
side, I don't
right.
think there's enough of that going on. Like, it's starting to get that way. You know, the longer form at the national level, state level, all that stuff.
But you know what? With that, with what you're talking about, like all those ads that come out, you know,
Yeah.
like Dan Osborne, for example.
Yes.
Like, you listen to his positive, you're like, oh, seems like a normal
Seems
guy.
like a cool guy.
Yeah.
And then you look at his page and it's like, no.
Whoops.
See who donated to him. Yeah. You can figure it out real fast.
Yeah.
Funny story about him. So, voting day, I grab Katie after work. All the kids are in the car, and we just go take turns. I like get out, and Hudson, my oldest, goes, "Dad, don't vote for Dan Osborne."
How old is he?
Somebody got it to him, man.
January. It's
That's
just funny
good.
how they catch on to stuff.
catch on
Somebody
to
heard it
certain things.
saying
Did
it.
he
heard
get tired of the
somebody say-
commercials?
Must have. Yeah.
There were so many commercials for him right before, like the 2 weeks heading up to the election.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I kind of got tired of political ads. I can tell
I
you
got
that.
way tired. I hated all the political ads for both for every side for all parties. It's like, come on, these are. I mean, you're clipping stuff. You don't really need to clip stuff. You can just look at. It's on everybody's website. I mean, Dan Osborne claimed he was an independent. You go to his website, and every view he has is far left wing radical. Like every view. Like he was gonna day one change. He was gonna vote for the PRO Act. Like, come on, man. Like, you're gonna ruin the entire job market doing stuff like this. But whatever, I guess.
No, it's okay. It is what it is. But I'm glad your podcast is doing well. I try to watch
I
it when I
appreciate
can. And you looking at doing any more books?
No, not for the time being.
Kind of wrapped. It's kind of you're kind of doing that
It's
in the
easier
podcast.
to do the podcast than the books.
Yeah, and so I have the three of them. You know, it's like early stage, middle stage, late stage life is how I structured them.
Yep.
And at some point in time, I'll probably like revamp them. You know, like maybe after they've been out for like 10 years, I'll do like a
Well, things
volume.
change.
2.0 or something. You know, like that. But no, for right now, I feel, I give away 1,000 times more of them than people buy.
Right.
You know, it's just hey, this will help you with where
Just
you're
It's
look at it,
advertising.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. That's good.
But I honestly, I would say I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert. And so, like, that's an easy way for me to, like, communicate with people, like, through whether it's the podcast, YouTube, or the books, to say, like, hey, this is my views on money and finances and faith. You know, like, if you like this, then you would probably, like, have a relationship with me working together.
Right. That's good. I didn't realize, and I think you told us the last time, going back to family, I didn't realize Katie didn't work. But I think you maybe told us that.
I don't see how people do it.
Yeah, I know. I agree with
I think we talked. I think we talked about
See,
that.
I
but
couldn't
don't
remember because then I ran into her at Oktoberfest.
Oh yeah.
And
Steinholden champ.
yeah, she did. That was
She
wild.
won it?
She did.
I didn't know that. That's
She
awesome.
did. Yeah, the little Katie won the won the Steinholding. But yeah, but anyway, I was saying she reiterated that again because we were just kind of talking about you and how your podcast was doing, and she's like, yeah, I kind of had to get out. I was like, because I asked where you were.
Yeah.
And she said, well, he didn't want to come, but I wanted to get out because I don't get out of the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I kind of forgot you don't work, so that works.
Well, that's like I think that week I was gone for work for something. And I got back Wednesday, slammed on Thursday, catching up on stuff. And Friday, was it Friday night? Maybe it was. Or
It was the night of the football game. Yeah.
yeah. And it rolls around. I'm like, I have zero.
Yep.
I just want to put the kids down and just chill.
Yeah, that's what she said.
know what I
Exactly
mean?
like that. Yep. I didn't blame you either. I was like, oh, it's good.
Yeah. So I do that once in a while.
Yeah. It is hard. I don't know how people do it. I mean, Kai works, but it's in our house.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like I don't know how other people can do it. I don't.
Like seriously, households that have both, you got to have the most respect for households that have mom and dad that have to work.
Yeah.
Because you try to throw in like if there's any activities that the kids do on top of that.
Or doctor's appointments or just things that come up during the day. I don't know how we can barely do it because of our schedules because like she can't leave.
Yeah.
Or get help. We have to, if we need help, she's got to either get one of our moms to come do it or something. And then if my schedule's full, I try to block off what I can for events, but if something comes up last minute, like I can't. I try very hard not to reschedule clients.
Yeah.
So. Tough.
And two, like if you don't have family around.
Mm-hmm. We're lucky we
really
do.
Tough.
But yeah, I don't know how people do it.
Yeah. So no, thank God she's able to stay at home and take care of the kids, and it's just awesome to have that. I think it adds 10x to your lifestyle.
I would 100% agree with that.
When you're able to do that.
Yeah. And were you guys in the new house when we talked to you last time?
So we just moved. When was it? Like August last year? So yeah, we would have just been in for like.
You would have
a
just
couple
been.
months at
How's that
time.
been going for you?
It's been awesome.
Good.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Good.
Kids get to go outside and enjoy stuff.
Right. Because you got a pool, right?
Yeah, it's got a pool, so which is nice in the summer.
You didn't have to leave. You got everything you want right there.
Yeah, just staying here.
That's
I'll
good.
just hang out back, and no, it's been really nice. The layout's a lot better with the kids. We just got baby we got a 9-month-old, and he's in our room right now. So we got to that's our goal over Christmas is to
Get him out.
get him out of the room and.
So you can sleep finally.
Yeah. Well, Katie does 99% of that.
Right.
So
That's usually how it goes.
yeah.
I always tell people, does she nurse at all? I don't know if you.
Yeah.
So when that's happening, the guys can't really
No.
do much when.
Sorry, I can't.
It's
He's
feeding
hungry
time.
here.
Yeah.
He's not ready to deal with it.
He wants you. That's I went through the same thing. I get it. That's good. Well, I'm glad everything's going for you. You seem to be, happy.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Things are going well.
Things are going good. And this new setup that you guys, like I said, this is an awesome setup you have here.
I know. I feel so bad. So we've been in here since March? I say this
Yeah,
every
right
time.
around March.
It was like
Or
late
beginning of
March.
March or
Right when you
Yeah.
moved.
We moved in December,
Christmas.
right
He
right
moved
before
in-
Christmas.
They had Christmas here.
Gotcha.
We did. That was the whole goal, was that we were going to buy it, and then I moved everything within like a week so that we could celebrate Christmas in the
Yeah,
new
that's
house.
awesome.
But the basement was totally unfinished, so all this was unfinished.
Did you do it or did somebody else
I
do
had
it?
somebody do it.
Yeah, okay.
But we
We did
told-
our first 2 months upstairs in the living room.
yeah.
God.
Our first video was actually upstairs.
It was on a different camera. So we've definitely evolved from the office setting that you were in.
yeah, this is awesome down here.
Yeah, so we did this in March, and I told the guy that was doing the basement, I'm like, so you have to make sure that this room's done first, because he was one of those that does it on his own.
Yeah.
So it took a little longer than if you were to hire a big crew, but it turned out great. But I'm like, you got to get this room done first so I can get the podcast up and going. So this room was done, and everything else was still studs.
Being worked on out there. And yeah, no, I love this down here.
Yeah, just I feel bad that it's gonna be coming up on a year and we have nothing on the walls, or I hate
All
it.
in time.
I know.
All
I
in
know.
time.
It's finding time to go do it. You know, so I don't like hiring people to do things, but at some point I just gotta do it.
Bite the bullet and get it done.
I guess. But we appreciate
And
it.
we know that's going to change. We're going to change different things all the time.
Oh,
we're
yeah.
yeah, we don't like that there. We're going to move that. That's going to happen. We're going to, it's whatever.
The whole vision, when we had the table over there, I had this whole big vision and we had it set up, and I'm like, this kind of sucks. So we got to move it. We were wasting so much space on this side of the room, and So yeah, we just moved it, and now we're wanting to get rid of the table and do like comfy chairs. So
Oh yeah, so you're just sitting in like a lounger and
more like cigar bar style feeling, lounging. Yeah.
but then we'd have to figure out some kind of, I don't know, like TV trays or some kind of a
something to
coffee
hold
table for our computers at some point.
yeah,
But
it's a work in progress.
yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, the colors will probably stay. I don't think we'll
red,
ever
right?
change colors unless he wants purple and yellow again at some point. But
old Chicago Bull over here is not going to let it happen.
it's Husker colors.
But that Kobe's going to look real good on red and black. That's for sure.
yeah, he's got a Kobe plaque thing that we're gonna put up.
That's the only thing he's letting me bring of Kobe. The rest is going to be Jordan shit.
All the rest is
other
gonna be
stuff.
Jordan.
This is your Kobe wall, and like 95%
Kobe will be
of
right
it's
behind
MJ.
wherever the camera's at.
I told him we were gonna put it behind the TV.
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you guys get into like the trading card stuff at all? Do you guys
I
do
did
any of
when
that?
I was
I
younger.
did when I got all kinds of them at home somewhere, but they're all from, they're all probably pretty decent, but they're from when I was
Right.
10 years old and younger. Like,
Do you?
No, so like
Oh.
I was just curious because like I just found this app on my phone that you can like scan the cards.
I need that because I
really?
want to
See the
scan
value.
them, see the value, so I can start
Yeah.
getting rid of them.
That's what I'm
That
gonna
would
do
be
with
handy.
my oldest, like over Christmas break, just to say, hey, dude, like I want to put this app on the iPad and you can like keep
Go
him
through
busy
these.
all day, like
Oh,
figuring out
let
how
him
much
do it.
Yeah.
See, you're smart. That's what I should do. Is just have my kids do it.
And then I'm like,
Oh,
hey,
no.
I'll give you like
I'll
half,
rent
half the money if you
Right.
go sell these. Because we got that place downtown now,
Yeah,
right?
So
Isn't it like baseball and
I haven't been in
basketball
there.
cars and
It's a bunch
stuff?
of trading
the
cards.
one
I know
downtown
that.
or the one on
I know
on
Prep to
13th
Pros
Street?
got.
Yeah.
The one on 13th
13th
Street.
Street?
That's
He's
the one
got
I was thinking of.
sports.
So
That's
he-
all sports
That
stuff.
guy has been around. So he used to be over across from Burger King on Benjamin.
Okay.
Way back when I was. That's where I
Really? I
bought
don't
all my
remember
cards.
that.
Yeah. So like that strip mall there.
Yeah.
That's where he used to be many years ago.
Okay.
And
then he moved into the
he
mall?
moved out of town, and then when he came back, he opened it back up in the mall, and then now he's got that building there. So he's
never
where I
knew
got
that.
most of my cards from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that'll give him something to do. Figure out if any of these are worth anything, and then he can go down there and sell them.
He's always wanted to try to buy some of my Jordan autographs,
Oh, really?
and I wouldn't sell them.
How many do you got?
Five. Like
Oh,
five of them.
nice.
I got 2 jerseys. I got 2 like photos, and then we found this out in California. We found this painting of Dennis Rodman and him as kids, kind of painting a painting of themselves, and he signed it on his ass. And then I'd like to get Rodman's signature on it, but
Yeah.
that'd be kind of fun. But that's
How
what
did you
I
get
got.
these jerseys?
I went to his the jerseys we bought
Oh, okay.
in California, so I went to his camp
Gotcha.
for 5 years.
Gotcha.
I don't look like I was ever good at basketball, but
You used to get up and down. I remember playing.
yeah. But I went out there from like I think 7th or 6th grade, and then for 5 years
That's
every
really
summer.
cool.
That was kind of like our summer vacation.
So you went out there as a family,
Yep.
and you'd do the camp, and
Yep. We would drive out there. We'd go through Colorado, and then one year we'd go down through Arizona, and then we went up through like Wyoming and came down Highway 1 from San Francisco, and it was a lot of fun.
That's
It was
cool.
it was a great family 2-week vacation every summer.
yeah, that is neat.
Mm-hmm. And
5
then,
years in a row.
Yep, 5 years. I think it was 5 years in a row because I'm trying. It has 5 signatures, so 5 years in a row.
And does everybody in the camp get assigned something?
Yep. So you get in a big old line, and he's sitting back in a room, and you just walk through.
That's
He
cool.
actually laughed at the painting of him and Rodman. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about that camp was that all the most of the counselors were college players at the time.
Nice.
So like, I'm just trying to think. So like, Gilbert Arenas was there, people that played in that time frame, and then a lot of the other counselors or coaches were like either really good high school or college coaches. So it's kind of a fun,
That is cool.
a fun deal.
Almost got you to D1.
Yeah. If I would have stuck with it, I chose football as my main thing, and I probably shouldn't have. I don't know. Who knows? I always thought I was too short to play basketball, but
Do you guys find it? I mean, kids in school. Do you find it shocking how many kids that don't do sports anymore?
yeah.
At least for me in Norfolk.
I guess I haven't really paid attention. I don't have kids, so
Yeah.
So I
it
didn't.
seems like wreling is huge.
It is huge.
And
right
to
now.
my, and from where it was when I was a kid, and
For
even going
girls
through high
especially.
school, and for girls and boys, even boys though.
Yeah.
Like Battle Creek's wrestling program is massive, and it was nothing. Like high school wrestling when I was in high school was like 6 people, 7 people, 8 people.
Yeah, I think there's like 60 or 80 kids out at the junior high
For wrestling.
for wrestling for boys.
That's awesome.
Because my son started this year. He just started this year.
Yeah.
I didn't really push sports on both of them. 'Cause
Yeah.
I went through a whole
Burnout.
process, and maybe that's what around Norfolk is a lot of the people that are parents now had the burnout and they're not trying to force it. Maybe I don't know.
Not pushing them into it.
Yeah. So he chose to do it. I'm like, oh, if you want to do it, but then if you choose to do it, you're going to finish the season. Yep. Like it's not going to be a 1-2 week thing and quit.
I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
I think there's all kinds of the club sports, though. I think there's too much of the club sports. And
I think
that's my opinion.
It's oversaturated.
I've had that opinion for a while. I think schools go back to just school sports for, different sports every season. I think everybody's a little better off. Unless you're that guy. Like, let's be honest. There's not many of them coming out of Norfolk, Nebraska.
I played club soccer and club basketball, though, and it wasn't like horrible.
But it's different now.
It's completely
way
different now.
from where it was.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird for me coming from like a small town, high school, like to a Class A school, and you're like, oh, in a small town, 80% of the kids do sports.
100%. You almost have to.
It's not that way.
Because once you get to high school, you think the whole class has got to play all the sports.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I mean, I was just trying to think. We played club, and then we had like multiple teams coming through Norfolk at the time, but then we all kind of got together, and each grade level went through the Norfolk program. So it was all through the high school.
Gotcha.
And kind of that was kind of how they were going to build up and get the kids to play. And then
I think the term of club sports has changed though too. Like there's always club sports, but it was a little more regional, as opposed to that region has just gotten so much bigger.
Yeah.
Where they're traveling 5-6 hours.
Style teams and stuff like that.
Furthest we went was to Sioux Falls one time, I think, for soccer. Maybe we went down to Kansas for basketball, but
yeah, so not horrible.
Nothing like, it was mostly like Grand Island, Lincoln, Omaha, little small tournaments.
But for the public school, those kids got to travel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're not going to Pierce or Stanton or.
They're all going
Lincoln,
to a bigger school. Be a couple hours away almost every time, no matter where they go.
Columbus will be the closest one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You're not wrong though. It's not a big thing for kids.
Which I'm not crazy into sports or anything like that. But I think it teaches a lot of good lessons to kids.
Agreed.
I think every kid should. Maybe if you're not going to do sports, you should be competing in something. Yeah. I think you should have competition at a level that's not participation trophy level. Like you're competing to win no matter what. Like you're going to give your all. We're going to lay the cards on the table, and wherever the chips fall, that's how they fall. It is what it is, but you're going to try.
A competitive edge is good to have.
Yeah. I think it's merit-based that's what America is founded on, in my opinion, is merit-based. It's a meritocracy. Yep. So let's get back into that meritocracy thing, and let's make winners. You may not win at this. You'll find something else that you'll be 10 times better at, but you're going to have that in your bag. Like, I lost. I had a bad feeling. I don't want that feeling again. So I'm going to find something I'm maybe better at, and I'm going to give that my all, and then I'm going to succeed here.
Yeah.
So
I think that's why that Pee Wee wrestling is so good.
Yeah,
because they right off the bat, there's a winner and there's a loser.
Right. Oh, there's 100%. I took as a kid. You take a picture with the bracket with your name at the number one level, and if you're not number one, you're standing on the podium with that third place or second place, and you don't get to hold that.
Yeah, one-on-one, there's
handwritten bracket poster.
One-on-one, there's really no way to do participation. Somebody's got to win.
Yeah, and I just love that though about it, because like the first time our oldest lost, like you just saw that, like he didn't know how to handle it.
Right.
He'd never had that before, especially in like a physical sport like that. So I just think it's cool that they have that winner or loser.
Winner, yep.
They're
you shake hands and you walk
kindergarten or whatever, and then you learn how to handle yourself.
I'm having to do it the opposite way. I'm having to push him to be a little more, have that more drive, because he's 12. So starting a sport competitively like that at that age, and then not like having any experience before, and all the other kids have probably been doing it since they were 3-4 years old.
Yeah, they catch on quick.
He is, but trying to get him to the first few matches, it was like he was just not fighting to try to get out of anything. Yeah. And then if I told him, like, you're gonna have to fight your ass off here, because otherwise you're just gonna be pinned down every time. And he's gotten a lot better. It's been good for him.
That's cool.
And he's changed. He's matured a little bit through this too, which is good. Who
coaches the junior high program then?
Dustin Kramer.
Okay.
DJ Kramer,
They have, so Coach Gray is around the little kids practice once in a while.
And he's the high school?
High school, yep. Yeah, and and then they got a club coach too that does it. Yeah, they got a really good program for those kids.
Yeah, seems like it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I'm still learning. I didn't really
don't
know much about wrestling.
Yeah, that's why I go to practice and I pay attention. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Because questions will be asked.
Yeah.
Yes. No, but it's been good. But yeah, I think sports are good for kids. I think it's a good thing. But I think the club thing, I think it's oversaturated, and I do think there's less kids playing.
Which, I don't know, at some point in time, you got to grow up, like your future isn't sports, but I think it's awesome for high school kids to be involved and to be competitive.
Keeps them
and to be one
out of trouble too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gives them something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially like after school, they're not, it gives them a routine.
Yep.
Too. That's what I always thought about. I go back and I think maybe I shouldn't have played everything. And, because you think about it, you got up every day, got to school by whatever, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then you weren't getting out of practice till 5:30, 6 o'clock. It's like you were doing a full-time job there, and then having to come home, and we still had homework back then.
Yeah.
I do think we're seeing a resurgence of things like FFA and stuff though too, which is because that puts a damper on some sports. You gotta kind of especially if you're going to be good at FFA, if you're going to be good at speech is getting a little bit bigger, stuff like that.
Yep.
I did speech, I did FFA, but those activities were much smaller, it seems like, than they are now too.
Yeah.
So maybe that's part of it too, is people are kind of getting into that because there's maybe a little more or more longevity learning out of that stuff. And it's still a competitive market. So I'm not like beating up on sports or beating up on people not playing sports. It's like, just find something like any activity.
An activity.
Find a competitive activity that's going to teach you something.
Yeah.
Like you'll get lessons. People will lose and still be better for it. Like as long as you're trying, like you're not just going through the motions.
I think there was a big surge of like drama and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I know that just the ag departments alone, like Battle Creek never had an ag department. They never had their own FFA. Like we talked about it on my mom's podcast. We had to join Norfolk's FFA. Like we were a Battle Creek chapter through Norfolk. Like Mr. Crozier, he kind of took us under his wing, and we were part of the Norfolk chapter, but we were our own Battle Creek. There's just 6, 7 of it, 8 of us. I don't remember how many, but we were part of that thing and got us going. And now it's turned into Battle Creek has their own FFA chapter. They have their own ag complex. They have their own ag department. So
At the high school now.
Yeah.
Stuff goes in phases though.
Yeah.
You know what I think cool now is how they call like the new generation of kids coming out of high school. They call it the tool belt generation.
They're going to have to be.
Because they're all like going down the plumbing, the electrician, lineman.
They're going to need
have
to
to.
because
That's the
everybody else
problem.
is retiring.
I just saw a stat today. By 2030, we're going to need almost 500,000 plumbers.
Really?
And then by 2028, we're going to need 30,000 new electricians a year, or 30, whatever it was, something like that.
Well, because you got schmucks like me who don't know how to do that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't either.
Yeah.
I've been around enough stuff and enough people, and I can do some minor wiring. I can do some minor plumbing. I can do some minor stuff that if I had to do it, I could probably figure some stuff out. But yeah, I didn't go to school for that type of stuff. We grew up in the age where you had to go to college or you're not getting anything.
Yep.
I didn't even finish college. Yeah, that's the only way to do it. You got to go to college. You got to go to college. Like I even coming out of college, or coming out of my non-finishing college, but coming out of there, like a lot of places wouldn't even look at you if you don't have a degree.
Yeah, that 4-year degree.
And a lot of them were like especially like in the ag world. I grew up looking for jobs with pharmaceutical reps or cattle stuff. This is my life. Like I've been around this my entire life. My mom and dad started a livestock identification company when I was a child. I've been around all of you people.
Right.
My whole life. I know this industry. I know these people. Nope. You don't have a degree. Can't even talk about it.
4-year.
Now those same companies would hire people without a degree now.
Right. Because they're going off experience.
Yeah. We're like, what are we doing here, people? So it's frustrating when stuff like that. We just grew up in the wrong generation. Or maybe I should have just got my degree and just
Maybe.
buckled down and went to school.
Yeah. I saw another stat the other day. Somebody was looking at getting hired. Now they do this thing where you get interviewed and they do like a minimum salary and then a maximum salary, and they tell you what you need to qualify for whatever it is. I think it's kind of odd, but I guess it is what it is. But they were getting hired to do some kind of social media marketing for this company's TikTok and Instagram. And he said, well, what do I have to do to get to the 20 grand more a year on the high end, they said, well, you're going to need to have 15 years of experience in both of those applications.
They haven't been around for,
Nope.
musically.
Nope.
Hasn't been here for 15 years?
8 years.
Total.
And 8 years total, and Instagram's only been around for 14.
Huh.
That's insane.
So it's basically you have no way of getting to that point.
You're not
But they
going
put it up there. Yeah.
That is
they-
interesting.
Nobody physically possibly can do that.
That is weird.
So it's just kind of funny how they hire people nowadays.
Yeah, no
I
joke.
don't think I could go do it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be for me.
Not at all. I don't even know if I could go through an interview anymore.
I've gone through them. It's whatever.
I think I'd struggle.
I would, 100%.
Yeah.
I'm used to being the one talking to people.
Yeah. Like I sat in on the Y this week. They had interviews for like the new executive director or CEO or whatever you want to call
Oh, I
it.
forgot. Yeah, because Randy's retiring.
Yeah. And so like I was sitting there and I'm like, the questions they're asking, I'm like, oh, that's a good question. But I was like, man, if I was in that seat, I would definitely like butcher that. Like I would not answer that in the right way.
Yeah.
Just be like way too short and straight to the point, not elaborate.
Yeah.
Right. They'll be sitting there like, okay, more.
Littering end.
That's funny. Okay. I want to move a little bit into kind of talking about the impact that elections have on the markets and retirement accounts.
Super good question. So I did a video on that. I think it was like January or February.
Oh, that long ago, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because like this is a common like it always comes out in election
Right.
years. Like all this crazy stuff's gonna happen.
Yep.
And what's wild to me, and you guys probably see it too, is like how much people's emotions drive their behavior. It is just so like anytime somebody loses a spouse or like there's a significant event in their life, I always tell people like pump the brakes. Like you're going to have to make some decisions, but we can make them in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the worst time to make any financial decisions is when you're emotional.
Right.
Right? That is the worst time to make financial decisions when you're emotional.
100%.
And so like in this video, essentially the president doesn't really dictate the stocks market returns over there. I mean, yes, they can maybe change some policy things, but like there's 100,000 different factors that go into the stock market. And the president really doesn't dictate it that much. Right. And so there's a beautiful chart that I was going through that like it shows the stock market doing this and it's red and blue. And if you look at it all together, both of the presidential, whether you're Democrat or Republican, it's all within 0.5%.
Right.
Like when you look at the long term, it's all within 0.5%.
Yeah.
Now that being said,
But we're talking only stock market at that point.
yeah. And so, that being said, I voted Republican, and my feeling is probably a little bit more positive on the market.
Yeah.
But guess what? That's because I voted Republican. You know what I mean?
It's true.
And so, like, I have some clients who, like, great example, the day after the election, right? Gal calls me. She's like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe this happened. The world's going to fall apart. And I just said, are you at your house right now? And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay, just turn on your TV and turn it to CNBC. Like, just turn it on. And she flipped it on. She's like, whoa, what's going on? I'm like, the stock market's way up, isn't it? And she's like, yeah, but why? I'm like, just calm down. I was like, the market reacted in a positive way to the election news. I was like, it didn't go the way you wanted it to do, but don't let that cloud the decisions with your money. Now, if you want to get more conservative because of health issues, family issues, something big coming up, we can do it. But I think what people need to realize is that the market's going to do what the market always does over the long term, right? If I'm talking 10, 15 years, 20 years down the road, which we always talk long term with people,
Yep.
the market's going to probably be higher than it is today. I can't guarantee that to you, but it's probably going to be higher in the future than it is today, right? And so I just always focus on like, hey, let's try to take the emotions out of the decision, because name one time you've made a good emotional decision in your life.
Oh, every time. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a great emotional decision maker. I've never made a poor emotional decision in my life.
You're tired, you come home from work, and the kids do something, and you flip out. Or you're tired, it's been a long week, and your wife asks you to do something, and you don't answer in the right way.
Yeah.
So emotions always cloud our decisions as humans. And I think what my job is to people is to say, hey, let's be like, we don't have to be emotional about this.
Yeah.
Let's just remove ourselves from that and look at the big picture.
Right.
That takes somebody like in your position. That takes for you doing what you do. You have to be able to do that and separate yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why like I could never be in your position because I'm looking at, well, if we're not getting this is probably going to happen. Yeah. And like, so we need to be getting out of whatever this is and learn how to like, hey, we see this coming down the road. This administration or this group of people or this party wants to do this. This party wants to do that. So maybe we want to put our money into this one, you know, as opposed to just letting everything ride.
Yeah. And so, which you're right. But like I always, like me personally, I never get too high. I never get too low. I'm just kind of even keeled.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way that people need to be with their money too, because you're never going to outguess the market.
Correct. Well, unless you're like, Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah. Well, unless you got that insider trading, right? Yeah. With that great track record.
Her and Dan Crenshaw, those two. Yeah. We're gonna get both sides here because Dan Crenshaw is just as bad as Nancy.
They know
Pelosi
something
is.
we don't know.
Yeah.
Because they know it like 3 months in advance.
Turns out they're making the laws that make all that happen. Yeah. So,
but what I was getting at is, like, when I tell you nobody knows, like,
no, I know. I'm joking around.
And maybe some other insider things. Like, generally speaking, if somebody tells you, like, hey, here's the next great stock, this is the next.
It's
maybe. I always tell people, why would I tell you?
Yeah.
Like, if I knew, like, the next stock that was going to pop or the next sector that was going to.
Unless you're trying to, you could do it if playing devil's advocate on that. Somebody could be doing that to try to sell it. Like you're trying to say
get more people into it.
Get some gumption on this, and then my stock that I bought at a penny or whatever, maybe now I can sell it for $3 or whatever and make X amount of money by just getting a little bit of buzz out there.
And I always got to kind of laugh because people try to trade stocks on their own or buy maybe crypto on their own. I'm like, there's people that do this, and that is their life.
Yeah.
Like there's hedge funds that have satellites that track how much foot traffic's in Walmart and Target. Like, and you're gonna guess by
what's a gambling
reading
thing?
a Reddit.
I mean, I've messed around.
You know what I mean?
They track foot traffic. They track deliveries. They track
everything.
Nuts. It's nuts.
And so like,
well, it's just like going into a casino though too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what these people are doing.
Yep,
so it's fun. It's a rush.
Yeah.
And you can win or you can lose. You can get your ass beat or you could win. Like people do win doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you aren't stupid about it. Like I've done and messed around with stuff and never lost any money doing it, but that's just because it was fun and it was a rush. It was like, oh man, I sold it too quick. I could have had,
should have held on.
I should have held it. And God, look how much money I'd have. That type of stuff.
But I am really excited though. Like I think where we're heading as a country, and where our economy is going to be heading, maybe some tax law changes that come out.
Yeah.
Like I am really excited for what the next 4 years is going to bring.
Are you seeing some of this stuff about the housing market again at all?
What do you mean by that?
There's been a bunch of off sale, like in places like Florida, California. These people aren't being able to afford some of these Airbnbs that they bought.
Oh, like the no sales you're talking?
Do you think that some of that's going to become another 2008? Or
I hope not.
That's just what I keep kind of seeing that. I'm like, they wouldn't let it happen again, right?
Well, we're so protected here. Like, you hate to say it, like we're in a bubble here, but like, we don't see those big, like,
right.
For example, I got like counterparts in like California and Florida, and they always have these tax issues because people are selling their house for $3 million that they bought for $200.
Right.
Here you can shelter up to $500 for a husband and wife, and so we don't have those tax issues here. But like, they see that boom or bust on the coast, and maybe it will happen again there.
That's what I was wondering.
You know what I mean? But like, I think
there's a better chance it happens in California than Florida.
Yeah. I just saw a big map of off sale right now. That's just kind of going kind of crazy down there.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
That one, there's always stupid money flowing somewhere, and I think there was a lot of stupid money since COVID.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, it was all fake. There was a lot of fake money.
Yeah. Remember the NFT deals?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I could never understand that. I'm like,
I didn't get it either.
You're buying
Are they still going?
I think. I mean, it may be still there.
I think a lot of people lost a shit ton of money. Some people took some people for money, but like some of those NFTs are still out there that somebody would have bought for $1 million or $2 million, and it's not worth a dime now. Like
tens of millions.
Well,
of dollars.
There was tens of millions.
Like it's a picture,
right?
A digital picture.
Phone.
It's not even like it's a digital picture.
You can't even hang it up unless you print it out. But.
When that was going on, I'm just like this. Like you have too much money.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like
exactly.
my grandpa always said, like, if you have a horse, that's God's way of telling you got too much money. Because evidently, like, people having horses back in the day was like a big deal.
Yeah.
And, like,
Right.
if you have an NFT, that's God's way of telling you have too much money, maybe.
What do you think of the whole? I mean, crypto's been around for a while, but the big jump in Bitcoin.
That's been wild too.
It's been
but
wild to
that's
look
because
at.
you know the Trump presidency is they're
Yeah.
pretty positive on that.
I just mean even from the beginning.
Yeah, it's wild to
Like
see.
it's just wild to see how
So-
big it got.
It's if you have bought Bitcoin at any point in time and have not sold it, you've made money
Oh yeah,
on
100%.
Bitcoin.
If you've held on to, well, yeah, it's
Yeah.
hitting. It hit.
It's just
hit an
it's just
all-time high.
it's
Is it
still
at
going.
100,000 yet?
Not yet. It's on its way.
It was.
Oh, it already hit
close.
100.
No, it was at like 98 something.
I thought it was 98 or something.
Yeah, and Doge is kind of going up too,
Really?
a little bit.
I saw.
It's only at like 42 cents, but
and you know, Bitcoin. It hasn't been that crazy long. What, 15, 16, 18 years or something like that?
I mean, it was.
But when did it actually
Bitcoins were at like
take off?
25 cents a Bitcoin at one point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and $100,000 now.
And people were mining it. Like I still don't understand that.
That's where.
Well, there's that one in Stanton County, isn't there?
Yeah, I
Is
just
that a
don't understand how it
Bitcoin thing?
works.
Is that Bitcoin that's doing that, or it's
I
a
think
different
so.
crypto?
Either way, I
I
still
don't understand
it.
what it is. But
You
all
just
I know
buy
is
a bunch of
it's,
servers and then buy a bunch of computers that are mining. I just don't get it.
there's,
Yeah.
but there's only a limited amount of Bitcoin.
There's
Right.
only so many.
That's why Bitcoin is so much more expensive than the other ones. A lot of the Doge, what do they call them? The like Doge and some of these other ones were a different term. They called them something coins, but they were like they're unlimited amounts of coins basically.
Which is why they're so
Yeah,
low.
but like Doge was at one time when it came out, it was like a third of a penny
Right.
to buy. Now it's
Right.
at 40 some cents.
and Elon Musk tweets about it, and it shoots
Yeah.
up.
Well, I mean,
What's-
a lot of it has to do with
I mean, they called
Doge.
they called their thing Doge now too.
Department
so
of
it's
Government
yeah.
Efficiency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
Which
I-
that'll be interesting.
that's probably the only reason why it went up.
Yeah.
was because of that.
I think the crypto thing was looking rough if the left would have won stuff because they were going to want to. The government wants a central digital currency.
yeah.
They want to get rid of cash. They want to control everybody's spending.
So they would have made their own. Is that what
Yeah,
you're?
they were going to make their own,
And that would have
then-
crashed Bitcoin.
Yeah, Bitcoin would have became obsolete.
Yeah, but there's a lot of lobbying money behind that crypto stuff too.
Yeah, the government's got. The
Yeah.
government's the government, though. That's a whole.
Correct.
That's a beast.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know that it would have happened, but we were on that path. From the Democrats want that path.
And I don't understand it completely because I haven't done enough research on it. But if you have, one Bitcoin, it's worth $97,000. Can you sell that off for cash?
I have honestly no idea.
Yeah,
You can
You
give
can.
it. You could sell it to somebody.
Yeah, you can, but you have to have it in a wallet. So like,
So it's still digital currency,
it's still digital currency.
but it's spendable cash.
It's been
You can trade it.
Some places allow to buy stuff with Bitcoin.
I've seen that before. I just didn't know. There's a gambling website up in Canada where you can gamble with Bitcoin.
That sounds like
They stream it all the time on
that's
Twitch.
for degenerates.
Yeah. They're making money. Whatever. I don't know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we don't. I don't touch any of that. So like
none of it.
in our industry, like it's not regulated really, and so
Yeah, so it's tough. Yeah.
from our industry, we can't really do
Yeah, I don't-
anything with it.
I just
So,
watch it.
Yeah, like my knowledge about it is
Low.
Yeah.
yeah,
You got enough. Your cup's full.
yeah,
You got enough in that bucket.
yeah.
Did it do much to retirement accounts? Obviously, because those follow the markets too. Did the election impact any of that?
Oh,
kind
it's
of
been
stuff?
awesome.
Good.
Yeah. Since 2022's, since 2022, the markets have performed really well. And so, like, if you haven't made money in 23 and 24, you've been doing something wrong inside of your accounts. But, like, that's where it gets kind of scary for people, too, because, like, they think that, oh, yeah, this thing's going to gain 12% or 22%, just like clockwork.
Right.
Yeah.
And then there's that hard realization where, oh, shoot, it can go down by 30%, too. So sometimes people just get numb to the fact that they just think it's going to be going up all the time.
Yeah.
And you can't bank on that, especially people that are in retirement. That's where it gets really
Yeah.
tough.
Do you think that some of these tariffs, if he puts some of these on, like let's say China, on some of the electronics and things, that will affect some of the like Nvidia, those types of stocks, the tech stocks?
Well, I think it has to. I mean, anytime you're doing that, and it doesn't matter what industry you're talking to, anytime that's going to happen, it's going to affect the prices
Right.
of things and the sales of things. But I think you guys would agree too. the more we can do domestically, I think the better for the United States, don't you?
I would completely agree. I just don't know where we're going to get the...
It's going to take time.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
Yeah.
We don't get the what?
The metals that it takes to do some of the...
He's already said that he's not going to tariff things that we don't make here.
Right. I'm just going off of what he said to be able to build some of that stuff here, like on our like for ourselves.
My point is there won't be tariffs on that stuff.
Right.
Until we get to that.
But I'm
point.
just talking going fully where we do it all on our own. But
well, they own the market because they use slave labor and they have where you can mine all that stuff and all that type of stuff. So it's tough there, but we have to get it from where we're not at a trade deficit with all these countries at some point.
Well, and I think like we saw it during COVID, like with prescriptions and stuff.
They had us by the balls.
You know what I mean? Like
everything's done there. Canada does the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they have their cheaper stuff over there. Yeah, but they're everything's socialized and we subsidize everything to them. And then we're also paying more money coming back. So
I wish these companies that did the trade-ins, like, you can, the reasons why cell phone companies do the trade-ins where you can like trade your phone in and get a free one.
Because they recycle them.
But they're sending all that stuff back over. If we could keep some of that here, then we'd be all right. We could just take the recycled.
It's sent back over to China.
And then they refurbish it.
And reuse it.
Reuse the metals because eventually it's going to run out at some point. But that's why you can get a brand new iPhone at a cell phone company. They trade them in.
They just use the old
parts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
The same stuff can be done with computer parts and things like that. So it's just kind of crazy. TVs even. That's what that nerd does. Nerd here in town.
So they take the
NERD.
old ones.
They take old TVs or electronics or whatever. They pull all the useful
Parts
stuff out and recycle it,
Do
sell
they
it.
buy them from you, or you just drop them off there?
They don't buy it from you.
You just give it to them.
You just give it to them.
Yeah.
They just take it because you can't go take it to the dump. They won't
TVs
allow.
you can't.
They won't allow you to take them there unless they've been scrapped of all the components.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got one in the basement that TV in the basement. There's a mantle below it. Base on the mantle. Kids decide to wrestle in the basement. Puts like this tiny little like dent in the TV, and sure enough, there's like a 6-inch black mark up and down the TV.
We had that. We bought a garage TV last fall, I think. Had it in for like a month. Never used it. Had a Husker party. Speaker got knocked into the TV. TV was done. First night.
This is funny. We all have a story.
Yeah.
Because
the same thing.
right before, was it the Colorado game?
Right before the Colorado game.
Right before the Colorado game for the Huskers this year, I had literally just put that TV up out here.
Yeah.
And Christian was playing his Oculus down here and got too close and smacked it. It was just
Busted
spider webbed all over.
And you can't fix them, I don't think.
No. It
Like
would cost. You could. It costs way more to fix one
You just
than
buy a
just
new
go
one.
buy a new one.
Remember back in the day, like
Because I don't buy.
If
I
you
don't buy the
broke-
really expensive ones.
if you broke a TV back in the day,
Oh,
like,
you were
that's
dead.
You
were dead.
Like I can't believe that's like the end of the world. Now
Yeah.
it's like it's expensive. A TV is expensive, $400, $300. But they had 65-inch TVs on Black Friday for $220.
Right.
That's crazy.
Like it's just insane. Like what we used to do Black Friday to get a 50-inch TV for $600.
Right.
You know what I mean?
technology cost always come down.
Yeah.
Over time.
Yeah. See, I don't go for the big expensive ones for that reason. Because we
Break
have
'em.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just go for the.
And the
400.
That's why
quality,
we can't
the
have
quality's
nice
not that
things.
much difference from the really good ones. Like
Yeah. You'd have to get a
It's
really
not worth
expensive
it to
TV
me.
to have it be.
You can't really tell.
No. Not after, like, if we're sitting here watching a football game and you get 3 beers in us, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell the difference. You know?
It doesn't matter.
especially when they show like old replays of stuff from like the 90s, early 2000s. Like, what was that on? Like, we
Right.
watched
Where
that.
it's grainy.
Yeah, super grainy.
I just think back to some of the video games we used to play
That too.
on the old TVs. Like, God, we played that? We could see? We could see what was going on?
You got to be squinting.
And it was like a 19-inch TV,
Right.
20-inch TV, just a little square box.
It's wild. And then you go back now with computer gaming and you go from playing like something on a TV like this size to playing back on the monitor, and it kind of throws you off a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yep. So let's say a scenario if Kamala had won and passed some of the tax laws that she wanted, let's talking about the capital gains, things like that, and some other the tax things she wanted to pass. How would that have affected our economy, markets, things like that?
Oh, I would have hated it. And I mean, like, so that's something that we were always talking to people about, this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is going to sunset. And then, like, if you look at it, I think I'm going to make sure I say it right. A married filing jointly couple making over 250, they would have had an 11% increase in the amount of tax that they pay. If like all of these rules sunset and nothing's changed.
Yeah. That's not even adding anything to it.
No. That's
wild.
That's what you would have been looking at. And honestly, that night of the election, I was sitting there like, this is the same as last time. This is the exact same feeling.
We were watching it together. I was like, this is not going to happen. And then they called Pennsylvania. I was like, yeah, oh my God, we might actually.
Yeah, I didn't make it up that late, but.
We stayed up for it.
But yeah, if that would have happened, I think things would have looked, for any business owner, anybody that, operates, it would have been very difficult on things. And I think, yes, you vote for the person, but you also gotta kind of take a look at a bigger picture,
Yeah.
So I understand that Trump is polarizing. Like I
agree
understand
with
that, and I don't, you'd be stupid just to agree with everything that anybody says.
Yeah.
But like when you looked at the big picture and you think, well, here's what we're going to get in this camp. Maybe, like this is what they're talking, you never know what's going to be promised and kept. And then you look at this camp and you look at kind of what they're looking at and you're like, holy cow. Like I had a guy stop in the office and he was like, who'd you vote for? And I was just like, look, like, who do you think I voted for? Like, who do you think who do you think? And so, but yeah, if that would have happened.
But there's people out there because they honestly believe that they're neat. Like they weren't quiet about wanting unrealized gains taxes and wanting these tax. Like they're not quiet about that. They want that to happen, and they talk about it.
Especially family farms.
That's where people didn't understand. Like that's where I was like, I don't think anybody understands this. They will take land away from owners. Yeah. Like the government is taking land.
It is.
Unrealized gains tax plus your inheritance tax is going up.
The estate tax, if they change that. I just think it's really sad to me that, somebody builds up this.
I don't think there should be an inheritance tax or an estate tax. That's my opinion.
I don't know. I'll just tell you. So I just think it's sad when people have this asset, say it's a farm.
Yeah.
And it wants to be passed to the next generation. And if it gets passed to the next generation, maybe because it's so big, that maybe they have to sell off a third of it.
Correct.
Or half of it for tax.
Well, it happens all the time. It's stupid.
And then it leaves the kids handicapped because they can't operate with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of people don't, what a lot of people don't understand on the farm side of it, a lot of those farms are on notes as collateral on operating costs.
Correct.
Like everybody thinks just because you have a whole bunch of land, you're rich.
Mm-hmm.
No, not necessarily. I mean, everything's tied up in your corn or your soybeans, your cattle, your whatever. And then your taxes. I mean, you're paying a land payment in taxes alone on a lot of this stuff.
So like I was talking to an attorney about this a while back, and we were talking about the same thing that I just mentioned. And she's like, well, yes and no. And I was like, well, what do you mean yes and no? She's like, farmers, they have so many ways of not sheltering income, but finding deductions to make their estate larger, right? And so they can do things to increase their estate size, right? That's a tax benefit to them. And she's like, me, with my business, I don't have the opportunity to do that, right? And so my estate size, an attorney, you can't, there's a lot of things you can't do. It's like, my estate size is way smaller.
That attorney would have more cash on hand than that farmer may have.
But what
that's what people don't understand that.
Yeah. There's, it's not a cash rich.
Yeah.
But she's like, I've paid taxes my whole life. They haven't paid taxes.
That's her opinion. That is false. That's 100% false.
No, but it is. I mean,
no, they pay taxes.
They do, but there is a lot of tax benefits that farmers get access to that
everybody has tax benefits.
White collar people don't.
Everybody has tax benefits.
Yeah, but I would say generally speaking, an ag producer probably has more things they can do than a white collar professional.
In a way, I would disagree with that, but
why though?
I don't think they do. Like you're just talking. So you're deducting your input cost from your cash at the end of the year. Basically, is all you're really doing. Like you're breaking even every year, if that, without even hiding stuff really. Like sometimes some guys, I just took in 4 grain bins or whatever. I got to do something with this right now. Like, so I'm going to buy another tractor or whatever that. But you need that tractor. It's not like I don't need that tractor anyways. So you're going to get it. Same like a business will do that. Like, hey, we can hire another employee, and then that's going to come off our taxes a little bit. You see where I'm coming from a little bit?
Yeah, but I mean, like, and
it's
I
just
think,
input cost to your output cost, basically.
Yeah, and I would say like farmers are needed.
Yeah.
And there's more, I would say, generally speaking, there's more government programs and more things available to that entity than a white collar business.
On subsidization, yeah.
Yeah.
Row croppers for sure have a lot of that.
And so, like, the bottom line is that somebody in that size of business has the opportunity to get a lot larger estate than somebody getting like a paycheck from being an attorney every single year. You see what I mean?
Possibly. Yeah. I think a lot of people are assuming every farmer is a massive conglomerate, though, too. And there's not very many of them. There is big farms, but there is a lot of, I'm going to farm a quarter, you know? Like, and those guys aren't getting the benefits that she may be talking about.
Mm-hmm. And some of that's probably come from what we're discussing, right? Because of some of the inheritance problems.
They have to keep going somewhere. Like,
1,000%.
like you just, like, selling or like breaking up family farms, I think, is evil. I think it's a government base that they're trying to take land away from people. And then that also, once you start doing that on this inheritance taxes, estate tax, stuff like that, where they have to sell this off to pay for this because they don't have the equity into it, it's harder to start. It's much harder to start farming now than it was, say, 100 years ago or 50 years ago.
Most farmers that get into it now don't even own their land.
A lot of them don't, yeah. But some of them have land and then they rent and do all this other stuff. But kind of what I was saying is, like, once you start bringing all this in, you're creating the bigger farms because they have the cash on hand that they can go buy more. I'm just going to buy more land. I'm going to buy more land. And everybody's complaining about these big farms. Well, if you're doing this, you're doing that, you're contributing to the problem by having all these taxes that have to sell the family farm off. Some family farms get sold off just because the family doesn't want to keep it going. Yeah. And that is what it is.
Or nobody wants to work it.
Nobody wants to work it. Nobody wants to work. I mean, she works. I'm just using this lawyer as an example because we're talking about it. So you're working an 8 to 10 hour day, or, you know, on a tough day, 12-hour day. A farmer is going to work a 16 to 18 hour day, 360 days a year. Yeah. And maybe get 5 days off a year total. Yeah. Like a lot of people, I've raised cattle my whole life. I'm not really, I have a cow or two, you know, I go help when I can. I don't live on the farm anymore, but growing up, the cattle came first no matter what. Yeah. You could be dressed, ready to go. You got a cow calving, having problems. You're dealing with that before anything else you're doing that night. It doesn't matter. You're going to ruin your clothes. You're going to do whatever. You may have had plans. Those plans are no longer a thing. Yeah. Like, there's no set time. And like a lot of people talk about the farmer, their work's never done. It's really not. No. Like, there's no set hours. You have no hourly wage. So I see a little bit, and I can see where people get salty about it, and then I can also see, like, there's a lot of unpaid time. Oh, yeah. Like, if you were to hourly wage that same farmer, like, that hourly wage is tiny. It's a pittance, you know, even if they have all this land. But I don't know. I'm a little passionate about it. And
so my dad farms, but, like, that mentality that those guys have, that you wake up January 1st, and you do have some control over the income that you make in a year. Yeah. But, like, you know, some of it is really out of your control. Yeah. Like, you don't know what prices are going to do, generally speaking. So, like,
you try to buy it ahead of time. You try to buy your input. You try to get your input at whatever. That's a market thing. Yeah. So, like, my inputs can cost, I can buy them right now ahead of time at this price. Is that price going to go up or is it going to go down? It could go down, and then I'm out that extra. Yeah. Say I don't know what size, but maybe I'm out $20,000 because the price plummeted. I could have bought it 2 months later.
You just don't know.
$20,000 cheaper. Mm. Yeah. But going back to the, like, breaking farms up, I think it's a government ploy to, like, they talk about they want Agenda 2030 is a thing. The government wants to own 30% of land by 2030.
It's just sad when that happens. I think it's really sad.
It's terrible.
You know, to think somebody works their whole life, they want to pass it down to their kids. And
it's hard. Yeah. And some kids don't want it, and I get that. It's whatever. But there's a lot of family farms out there that they'd still be going. and the kids would want to do it and would be happy. They'd be tickled pink. They'd be like a pig to shit. Like, oh, I love this. Let's do this. Give me more. Like I could, some people, shitty tractor, shitty planter, shitty combine, shitty whatever. They don't care. They're just out there doing what they want to do.
Right.
So I don't know.
We went off on a tangent there. But anyway, going back to what you're saying, the capital gains part of that, I don't think we really discussed that. We were more talking about the inheritance tax and stuff.
Yeah.
But the capital gains
That's
portion
still
of that.
part of the land too, though.
Right. It is. I don't think did we talk about the capital gains?
I think it was kind of what we were talking about a little bit, but no.
Okay. How would that have impacted you guys in your field of business?
Drastically change things. Yeah. So there's two types of money, generally speaking. Like there's qualified money. So think like IRAs, 401ks, that type of stuff. And then there's non-qualified money. Okay. So people that don't maybe have access to a workplace plan, or they're dealing with larger amounts of money, they use these non-qualified accounts, right? And those are taxed at either short-term or long-term capital gains taxes. And when that was being talked about being changed, so short-term is just your ordinary income tax rates. That's if you hold it for less than 12 months.
Yeah.
Long-term, you get preferential tax treatment on those assets based upon your income, right? So when they were talking about that changing, a lot of wealthy people have a lot of assets that are invested for long-term capital gains, right? So that's how it's managed, and that's what you're running for. And when that was talking about being changed, you're kind of sitting there like, oh, like that's a big deal.
Yeah.
A really big deal. Granted, we don't have to deal with it now, but that's, the older you get, the more you look at those things, and you're like, well, maybe there's a different way that you should be doing something. But
because wouldn't that have affected dividends and everything? Like pretty much anything that
drastically changed things. Yeah. And
how would you even go about that? How would you guys
everybody
handle
would have
it?
just been paying more taxes.
Yeah. But wouldn't that make a lot more work for you?
Well, you would have been kind of handcuffed. So like you would have done everything you could have done in 24 and 25 to maybe pull as much out as you can. And maybe you restructured into something else. But like going forward, it would have drastically changed how we do.
What would you put it into? You couldn't really put it into property, right?
Well, I mean,
because that would probably return the same problem.
Well,
even beyond like the long-term and short-term capital gains, it was the unrealized capital gains.
Unrealized gains,
which that they were wanting to go for.
Yeah,
which
that's what. Sorry, I should have said. That's what I was wanting to talk
about. That would have been
about.
insane.
Yeah,
that would have
because you're paying money on money you don't have.
That's what I was.
Correct.
I didn't
that's what
say it.
I knew that's where you're
it
trying
was
to
the
go.
unrealized gains is what I was trying to get at.
That would have been insane too. Like I don't have it.
Sorry,
like,
that was my
no
fault.
cash.
I should have said.
But one thing about that is like some super large stockholders, like take Elon for example or Bezos. Like what they do is they just go borrow based upon their stock value, and then that's not taxable to them.
Yeah, like Bezos literally doesn't have the money; it's all in stocks.
Right.
So he just takes a loan every year.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, if they were trying to, I think there's a better way they could have done it than doing it like that.
Yeah.
Because that would have affected a lot of people.
It would have been nuts.
Yeah. And so maybe you just create it like if you're borrowing against collateral from a stock that you're paying tax on that,
Yeah.
So there's a better way they could have handled it than what they were proposing on that.
That's what I was. Sorry, I didn't say that correctly. So when I was talking about how it would have affected you, how would the unrealized gains? How would you deal with that with your clients?
Oh, it would have been a nightmare.
Because how do you project that?
It would have
especially
been a
with things
nightmare.
like dividends,
The reporting and who they were targeting for that, say the top 1% or the top 1% of the 1%, they would just offshore everything. They would have figured out a way to get around it.
But the middle class,
They
what
always
do
do.
Everybody else would end up stuck paying it.
Yeah.
Which is the way a lot of those things work.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate and it's sad, but
Where you could just kind of let them be. They keep them in check, keep them where they are, where they're already paying 90% of the taxes anyways. Like of the actual dollar amount, they're already paying 90% of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not paying their fair share. Who gives a shit? I think they're paying more than we're paying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So just let it happen and not fuck over the little people. Like, can we get to that where we're not screwing over the middle class every single time?
everywhere you
all
turn.
the time.
Yeah.
We're the ones holding the bag all the time.
Yeah.
Seems like it anyway.
Yeah, I think there's some things that could be done to help in better ways than dollars are being used. Right?
Yeah.
Like I think daycare is a huge one here. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm sure you guys are like get multiple requests.
Right? And we're never not full.
Yeah.
And we get requests all the time.
Yeah. And so like, and you know the cost of that. I mean, it's a lot for families. And granted, maybe, hey, think about it before you have kids. I understand that, but like, I think there's some stuff we could maybe do there to help people out.
Yeah. And it kind of goes into where you talked about when we started the conversation out. You're lucky because she's able to stay home and take care of the kids.
Yeah.
And some people aren't lucky that way. We could get back to a point where we don't have to have two incomes to raise a family.
How beautiful of a world would that be?
I mean, it would be a great world. Let's get back into the traditional thing.
I don't mind paying taxes, but like when you see we've sent how much to Ukraine?
Yeah.
And now we're about to send more down to Africa.
That or the Pentagon has failed its 8th year in a row of audits.
Have they ever passed one?
They failed 8 in a row.
They failed 8
That's
in a
why
row.
I know.
That's
8
all
in a
we
row.
know.
Yeah.
We just talked about it like 2 weeks ago.
But it's just like stuff like
We
that.
got Bernie Sanders agreeing with the Republicans here on that one.
Yeah.
So.
When you see stuff like that, it's just tough. It's like, man, like there's a lot of people that we could help here.
Goes a long ways. $500 billion goes a long ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that, I guess.
But anytime that's the problem with like the bureaucracies or people expecting the government to do it. The government's always going to mess it up.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we got to get back to where we take accountability as just people. But people don't want to take accountability when you're getting double dipped by the government and then you're going to try to do charity too. And everybody wants to do some sort of charity. Everybody does. American people are good people. They want to see the people that need help get help. But they're tired of, well, I'm paying the government to do this and I'm paying this to do this. And only these people are doing it, but I'm throwing my money away to the government. Like they're just lighting that shit on fire.
Gosh, Vance, you got sales tax, property tax, your
income tax,
federal and state.
Yeah.
Like I just
Vehicle tax.
like licensing a vehicle still. I was like, what? Like, I just had that come through and I was like,
It's
holy
wild.
cow.
Yeah.
Like,
Mine's a 2019.
Yeah.
$600.
So think about how much we pay the government in general is wild.
yeah. And so like, I get it though. Like that's where people are like, man, this is frustrating.
Yeah.
Just use it for the right stuff. And hopefully they're fixing that.
Well, I hope with that, like you said, the Department of Government
Efficiency.
Yeah.
And they have a
We just call
sunset.
it Doge.
But they
We're
have
just calling it Doge.
But they have a sunset on that too.
Yeah.
They want to have it done by, I think, what they say, 2027, I think is what they said.
They were saying they were going to pay them for like 2 years. Like, what sense does that make?
Pay who?
The employees that they will let go. I've heard that too.
I haven't heard,
I'd
I haven't
be
heard that.
surprised. I
I'd
don't
be,
know
Like,
about
why
that.
don't you just let them
That'd
go
be
for
wild.
like 3 months severance?
Right.
Or
That'd be
whatever
smarter.
standard is. Yeah.
well, now Biden's trying to make it so that the stay-at-home thing can stay that way. And they can't change that.
Stay at home.
I heard all those
work from
workers,
home.
the work from home stuff.
Isn't that a riot though?
It's wild.
Dude, I would be 40% less productive if I worked from home.
See, some people say it's the other way around.
yeah.
I would not be productive.
I would
from
highly
home.
doubt that.
I tried it through COVID
Yeah.
for like 2 months. Like I can't do this anymore. And I'm sitting in here. What do you think I'd be doing if I was sitting down here in this office?
Yeah.
Do you think I'd be working on stuff for work?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Maybe some people could. I don't know. Maybe there's that. But I feel like I'm pretty disciplined, and I know like I am definitely less efficient.
I think people that could do a lot of talking on the phone, that type of stuff, would be able to be more efficient because they could be doing other things while waiting for a call or calling somebody back, or
Right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I've
Just
noticed.
like some people work better in a non-time frame situation. Like I hate time clock stuff. Like I feel like I'm inefficient.
Lifestyle,
I think I'm
it's way better lifestyle being able to work from home, I'm sure. for a
Yeah.
lot.
I think I'm way more efficient when I'm not clock working. You know what I mean? Like I don't have a set time.
Gotcha.
Like you're not punching a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like on my days off, I feel like I get way more done. But granted, it's not for my job, so it's maybe a little different. But
I get it.
maybe it's because I know it's for me.
I have to put
you're more
myself in that
passionate about it.
mentality.
Probably that's possible.
To like walk into the office, I gotta reset my brain to get into that mode. When we walk in here, I gotta reset to
Yeah.
do the podcast and shut everything else out. It's just weird how that works for my brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're in that environment, and then it clicks. And yeah.
Otherwise, my brain's always thinking about, like, if I'm at work and I'm like, oh, we should do this for the podcast. Like no, we're at work. finish this stuff, and then we'll worry about that later.
Shut that down.
It's hard to do for me. My brain's always going one way or the other. So having to focus is tough.
I feel you.
Yeah. How do you see the next 4 years going now that Trump is in?
Like I said, I'm really excited about stuff. When they floated the idea of no taxes, I mean, how attractive is that?
That's wild, right? But that's also with this Doge, it could be possible.
Just look at the waste. I mean,
that's
like
what
we just talked about, as much. So
that's probably why I'm as bullish as I am on tariffs, is because if we can cut back taxes, cut back spending, and have tariffs.
Well, what Musk did to Twitter, he let a lot of that
80%.
Yeah.
80%, and it's fine.
You know, what's funny is there was a corporate guy I was talking to in one of their departments. They required to come back into the office 3 days a week, okay? And 30% of the staff quit. They said, no, we're going to find work elsewhere. They required them to come back in 3 days a week. They didn't need to hire anybody else because productivity was greater when they were in the office. But I am really excited for the next 4 years. I think with some of the changes that can be made, if stuff's done the right way,
right?
Like I feel like
if they don't have to spend all the time fighting, which I'm afraid that if some people just let it try, let it fail. Like if it fails, then you're right. You're proved right. Let it, just don't fight them the whole time.
It's kind of like what we said about the Epic option. Like, why not try it once? We can always go back.
Yeah.
We can always go back, right? You can always go back.
Yeah. How would that work? That would be really interesting.
It would have been fun to try.
Yeah.
Is all I'm saying. It wasn't perfect. I think it needs some tweaks, but it would have been at least something we could have tried.
I think it was better than what we currently have, was my opinion.
You know, the pendulum swung so far one way that it's coming back the other way now. And I would say, generally speaking, when you talk about the Republican Party, there's probably going to be less regulation.
Right, which is going to be great.
Which for my industry is good. For a lot of industries, it's a good thing. The more roadblocks you can get out of the way, as long as it's safe, secure, and people are taken care of, and there's no
if people
bad
would just be ethical, if people would just operate ethically,
which I think people are so used to. We had a small stint way back in the day where people weren't, and people don't think that.
No, there's always that.
We can't even
guy,
sneeze without somebody up our ass.
Yeah. The amount of paperwork, but it's because one guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, no.
Well, that's what OSHA is.
Yeah.
Just fucking one fuck up. Now we deal with it for the rest of our life.
One lawsuit.
Everybody else deals with it.
One lawsuit and you're
I
done.
call it Darwinism.
Like the caution hot or the wet floor sign or any of that stuff. It never was a thing until something happened.
Yeah.
And nature's undefeated. Eventually that person's gonna get killed
Just
off
don't
somehow.
be an idiot, right?
No amount of OSHA's ever gonna save that person's life.
Right. I'm glad to hear you're optimistic though.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't dabble in that as much as you do. I'm still learning your world, but
how can you not be?
Yeah.
Is what I mean. I think there's a lot of positive momentum going on. I feel like a lot of things are America first, which are getting to be more that way.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a more of a resurgence here domestically, which I feel, and that's the way I've always kind of felt about investments too. The more domestic exposure we can have, I feel the better than foreign. I mean, doesn't that make sense to you? We live in America.
Let's keep the money here.
Doesn't that make sense to you?
Yeah. I would rather the money stay here.
Yeah.
You think
Why ship it off?
You think he's going to be successful with the dollar overseas?
I sure hope so.
Do you foresee that happen? I mean, I don't watch that as much, so
I don't know. It's really tough to tell. What's weird is on the campaign trail, so many promises are made and so much is talked about, and then how much gets done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never the same.
I'm hoping this time it's true because I think he's set himself up to, with all these pieces, to be able to do it as long as those pieces can be put in place.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
I hope so. I think there's just, as long as he gets the right people in the right spots and the right decisions are made, I think a lot of good things will happen in the next 4 years.
Yeah. We think the same thing.
Yeah.
So, like I said, as long as he can get what he wants done.
But gosh, the stock market was not bad when Biden was in there, to be real honest with you.
Yeah,
I mean,
and we said that, yeah.
If you look at his presidency start to stop.
Well,
it was
anytime
not a
you
bad-
have inflation, the stock market's always going to go
Correct.
up.
But the companies were making money.
Yeah.
That wasn't the issue. So I knew that the stock market was fine.
Mm-hmm.
It was the cost of everything going up for the average American,
It's insane.
right? That was what was...
Because the majority of people don't have money in the stock market or a a small amount of money in the stock market.
Yeah. And
By in the overall,
the wealth gap just increased.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the inflation stuff is crazy.
Right.
I mean, still, I am shocked at some of the cost of stuff when you go to places.
Still to this day, yeah. It's gonna. Hopefully, it'll change. Obviously, but we looked at groceries from what was it, like 2021 to one from like this year, and it was like triple, quadruple what the same cart would have been from Walmart
It's insane.
3 years ago.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And you feel it, because
100%.
Hey, yes, I got a 5% raise. Yeah, inflation's 12%.
And not many people might have got one through that time.
know.
Yeah. I make more. I talked about it this whole podcast since we started. Been making more money and broker than I was. Like it just, you can feel it. You are like everybody. Oh yeah, no, we're way more money. Oh, it's gas. Gas was the same price basically. You're only $1 more a gallon. It's not just about gas. It's about everything else. Like it's over and over. What about your insurance costs? What about all this? So.
That's another thing too. Is health insurance is just wild. Insurance in general, is
homeowner
wild.
stuff has been
It's
crazy
wild.
too.
It's wild. I mean, when you were talking about having to have conversations, trying to calm people down and be calm about it, I'm having to do that every day.
Yeah.
With people telling them, hey, you went up 36%, 46%, 45%.
But that's not uncommon.
No, not right now.
This isn't just you. Like
No, it's not me. It's everybody.
Everybody.
It's the whole
is
industry.
getting this.
Yeah.
And for the
But
average,
people that don't pay attention to it, they walk in and it's deer in headlights.
yeah, I mean, for the average family, having that extra $50 to $150 a month extra cost. I mean, that's a lot.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm. And they were already high from the year before. So we've gone up in 2 years. It's gone up 100%.
But the insurance companies aren't. That's not them making a killing.
No, it's trying to stay
Solvent.
Yeah. Because we'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, they've
I
had
can't
so
get too
many
into the
claims,
weeds, but
like
the reinsurers are only going to do it for so long.
Yep.
Basically, nationwide, Allied General.
Yeah, so that's there's a lot of stuff's pulling on people's wallets, and I just hope that inflation gets under control. Maybe we start getting some more things domestically, and then
just a little bit of disposable income.
Yeah.
For the lower middle class. I think the main middle class and upper middle class has done okay. They've had a little bit of disposable income, but that lower middle class, who wasn't living paycheck to paycheck 4 years ago, was having to do side jobs and sell feet pics. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just wild. And health insurance, like I said, is kind of crazy.
Yeah, that world too.
Medicare.
That is an interesting world.
What are your thoughts? I don't know if you saw this today. He didn't see it, of the suspected assassination attempt of the United Healthcare CEO.
I did see that this morning.
I thought it wasn't an attempt.
Oh, sorry.
A success.
He was
A successful assassination attempt on the United Healthcare CEO.
And why?
Well, apparently, I don't know. This is all things I've read today. All just initial. They looked like a professional hit, and he had just taken over in July. He sold a bunch of stocks, his own stock from the company a month or two ago, and they were being investigated for antitrust stuff by the DOJ.
They were under investigation,
and they are, I think, the fifth. They're really high on the Fortune 500. They had record profits in the last.
Yeah,
couple
that's
years.
just crazy though. That it was in New York, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Right outside the Hilton, I believe. Not like a few blocks from the Fox News. I don't know where the Fox
And
News
he
deal
was
is, but
on the street.
literally on the street. Guy walked up, had a backpack on, hood, mask. He put the silencer on, shot him 5 times. There's video out
Just
there.
walked away.
And just walked away. Got on one of those what is it called?
The rental bikes or
The
whatever.
rental bikes. Took off to Central Park. They're saying that he probably had clothes in his backpack, changed, and walked right out.
That's crazy. Yeah,
We'll see what that does.
that is wild.
Yeah, supposedly they had done a bunch of. They were using AI to either accept or deny certain procedures and claims, and it was like a 90% failure rate or error rate. So apparently there was a bunch of people that were on United Healthcare that weren't getting procedures accepted.
Oh, really?
Things like that. So I don't know if that had something to do with it or if it was part of the I don't know.
So then if they didn't have the procedures done, the insurance company would have had to pay, and they're keeping more profit.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Which is part of the whole antitrust.
Yeah.
Yeah. So who knows who? Maybe he was going to plea and start pointing fingers.
Like and you're like, how much of that really happens that you don't even hear about, though?
A bunch. 100%
You know
of
what
it.
I
bet
mean?
it
Like,
happens a lot.
How much really happened that like you don't even hear about?
A bunch. I guarantee.
You know
I
what I
see
mean?
random things. Like I peruse Twitter enough.
I mean, there's a lot of people that commit suicide around Bill and Hillary
that too.
that are at least connected to the two.
Yeah.
Lots of suicides.
I saw it was an air freshener It was an air freshener, and it was like a picture on it of Epstein. It was like I hung this myself or something like that. I was like, oh, that's quite the air freshener to have in your car.
That's good. No, but it happens way more than you think. People jumping out of buildings.
Weird stuff happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just random stuff.
We just had that from that singer, right? Down in Brazil or whatever.
Yeah.
That they saw him arguing with somebody in the lobby, and then 30 minutes later he takes a nosedive off his balcony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happens a lot. A lot of weird things. But I just wanted to see if you had seen that. And
Yeah, I did, and I just was like, what is going on?
we'll
You
be
see a
talking about it
headline.
more on our podcast tomorrow. But I just wanted to at least bring it up.
Yeah, you see a headline like that, and you're just like, what is going on here?
Yeah. I heard it throughout the day, and I was like, "This is kind of wild." And now I'm starting to hear more and more and more that it could be just a conspiracy theory of he was definitely assassinated for a reason.
Well, obviously, like
Yeah.
a silencer and
Yeah. The whole thing. You can
Wasn't
see him
just a
walk up. The guy
drive-by
was
or something.
super calm. Walked right up, did the job, walked away.
so they actually showed a video of this.
It's out there. Yeah, I've got it. I can show you when we're done.
Oh man,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Is there anything? We're kind of coming to the end of the show.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to kind of talk about yourself?
No, guys.
We got a few more things that we kind of end the show with, but I at least wanted to make sure you got out everything you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit on some really good stuff, and I would just encourage people, that don't let emotion always dictate your decisions. And I think it's important too that, we got to be the best version of ourselves, right? And so I think a lot of people depend on maybe others to do things for them, or, whether it's, hey, this president's going to get inflation under control.
Yeah.
Well, what if you became like 30% better at your job and you got a 15% pay increase because of it?
Right.
So I just see so many people that I'm like, you have so much potential, but like you can't save or invest or do this for your future because you're not doing the work to make yourself a better person.
Yeah.
Or even as small as not buying that $5, $7, $10 coffee. Right.
Yeah.
Just small things.
And so like what I try to talk to people about is like getting a bigger shovel. And so like, if you have a little shovel and you're trying to fill up a bucket with dirt, like the
take a
little
while.
garden one,
Yeah.
it's going to take forever. But you go get like a big old garden spade and you're going to go a heck of a lot faster. So like, especially with young people, I'm like, focus right when you're out of school on getting really great at what you do. Start making a really good income, keep your expenses under control, and do that for 10 to 15 years. And your whole life, you're going to be set.
Yeah.
Right? Versus just, getting out of school.
Party for 10 years.
Who done? I'm going to do 8 to 5, 9 to 4. I don't care about it. I'm just living for Thursday and Friday. Like, I think if people just really focus on getting that bigger shovel, getting a bigger paycheck, you'll be able to help people more. You'll be able to take care of your family more. And I mean, in the end, you're going to make the whole world a better place.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that a lot of people anymore, they wait for somebody else to do something for them.
Well, anytime you're taking care of yourself and somebody's not taking care of you, you're already not a drain.
Yeah.
Like it just makes everything better because we're not worried about you at that point.
Well, exactly. And I understand that, some people are stuck because of,
It happens.
I mean, you can't, there are people that are stuck and
Yeah.
but I'm like, if you just take some time and just get to be the best person that you can be, like other people are going to realize that you're going to have more opportunities.
You're going to get handouts,
Yeah.
not from the government,
Yeah.
from somebody that's going to be like, this guy's worth my investment right here.
Yeah.
I may not see anything out of that investment, but he's going to be better. Therefore, that's my return on this investment.
Yep.
And that's there's people out there that'll help anybody out.
Yeah.
If you show, you got to help yourself.
Yeah, especially if they see the drive in you.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's the only thing that I would say that I think it's very important. I think that people don't rely on, new Republican party's taking over and they're going to make the world a great place. How about you do your part?
It takes everybody. Yeah, it takes everybody. I get that. That's good. I like that a lot. So we've been starting a new game at the end of the podcast. Since the election's over, we don't really have any. We used to do our federal election questions, ask those questions, and then we can't do that anymore. So we're playing a little Would You Rather. You ever played Would You Rather?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. First question. Would you rather have sticky fingers forever or dusty Cheeto fingers forever?
Oh, man.
When are we going to get rid of this one?
I love this one.
I think I'd take the Cheeto fingers. How about you guys? What are you taking?
They're both sticky fingers. I think it's a fault. I think it's a flawed question.
Sticky fingers.
I'd take the Cheeto fingers.
I would too. That's what I
just think they're. I don't know which
he
one.
He never picks because they're both sticky.
You're just saying give me both.
No, they're both sticky fingers.
He's talking about like when you're eating Cheetos. At the end of it, it does get sticky. But I see it as the initial dusty when you eat like 3 of them.
Yeah.
It's not sticky then. It's just Cheeto dust.
I'd get tired of licking my fingers all the time. All day long.
I'd get sick of that Cheeto taste.
I do love Cheetos, but
yeah. Number 2, would you rather have hiccups every day for the rest of your life or feel like you have to sneeze but can't for the rest of your life?
Ooh.
I can't remember which one of these I picked last time.
Oh, man. I'd probably take the hiccups because that sneezing, you can't get it out.
I think I'm sure I probably went with. Did I go with hiccups too? I think I did.
I don't remember.
Your eyes
I don't
start
hate that
watering,
sneeze feeling.
and your eyes start watering.
Yeah,
and
you're just walking around like this all day.
I'm doing, but you can't sneeze.
You can't. Like you never get to sneeze. You just literally like this all day long.
The sneeze is such a good feeling once it's out.
Yeah, but you never get it out.
You're just right. I was on the brink.
I suppose I gotta go hiccups. I don't know if that's the one I always pick, but it just right now it feels like hiccups.
See,
is
I
the
keep
one.
some of these on here because our answers change over time.
I probably would.
Depends on
I
the
just
day.
hate the hiccups.
Exactly. Oh, this is a good one. Would you rather use eye drops made of vinegar or toilet paper made of sandpaper?
Jeez. I'm gonna go with sandpaper because I think you'd get used to it.
Yeah, I went with sandpaper.
Oh, I'm sandpaper. I mean, they make Gold Bond. It'll fix it.
Yeah, I think
Baby powder.
you'd build up your calluses over time.
Yeah, you're good. It would get nice. It would evolve.
It'd be clean.
Yeah.
Like depending on the grit, you could
Right.
get in there.
The first few months you might be bleeding from the rectum, but
Painful.
Right?
You're gonna be walking like you got a corn cob.
Yeah.
Long ways from your heart.
Number 4, would you rather have a time machine that only goes back in time or one that only goes forward in time?
Ooh.
This one's a tough one.
I think I'd go back.
That's what we said. I think you said that too.
I'd always go back.
Because going forward, you don't know what's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I don't care what's in the future. There's
Yeah, but
It'll take care
what
of
I'm saying is it could be nothing there.
that's
World could have ended
I
and
just don't
you
want to
just-
go that direction.
and the older you get, you go back like, you're such an idiot.
Yeah.
You moron.
Oh man, if I could change like 3 things,
Yep.
like you'd be in a whole different spot.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody would.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's a person out there that doesn't have at least some regrets that they made a mistake or whatever.
You're not living if you don't have some sort of
like even the
regrets.
most successful of all of us.
Yeah.
You're gonna have regrets.
And especially as you get older, I feel like you start to, I mean, not that I'm old or anything, but like as you get more mature, you're like, that was really stupid.
Yeah.
And that's why I think it's too why it's so cool. Like when people can mentor younger people, like that's why I think
If
the
they
teammates-
listen.
Yeah. If they listen, but like that teammates program is a really cool program.
Yep.
And so like anytime older people can get involved in younger people's lives, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I agree with you. If only we could get our own kids to listen,
Impossible.
right?
Impossible.
Last one. Would you rather know the history of every object you touched or be able to talk to animals?
Animals.
It's animals for me.
I think I went with the history of every object last time just because
It got real dirty though.
it got real dirty and real dark.
We changed his mind.
Changed my mind real fast. We
anything
started
that's-
talking about cucumbers at the store. We
Everything
started
that's
talking
phallic
about
shaped.
like everything. And I was like, okay, animals is fine.
Animals.
But
It
you,
is.
in certain areas, you maybe not want to touch a sheep or a goat,
That too. But I was more thinking of the history
Let's stay
aspect.
safe.
or
Same
those
with that.
butterball turkeys.
Yeah.
That too. But I was, again, I was only talking about like history objects, like the Declaration of Independence or that type of stuff.
Yeah.
We
Come on,
we
man.
took
Not
that.
cucumbers at the
It
store.
wasn't just me. I think
it was
Abe
everybody.
was involved in that one too.
Either that or it was Brad, the Red Link.
Oh
barbecue.
yeah, maybe it was him.
I think it was him. That was a cool. I don't know if you listened to that one. We had the guy. He has a barbecue food truck up in Lincoln, and he sits out at the rail yard.
In Lincoln?
In Lincoln, yeah. He came down for. He was our last show before this one, right?
Does he ever come down here to do it?
He wants to. I'm
Yeah.
trying to get him to maybe come for an event or something. But
Yeah.
he's really good. He's a really cool guy.
Nice. How'd you get him on?
He saw us on TikTok,
No way.
and then we started messaging back and forth. And I'm like, "Would you want to come
That's
down and do the podcast?" And he had just bought a barbecue sauce line,
Oh, wow.
and he's trying to get it around the area. He said it's in Columbus,
Yep.
I think, and he's trying to get it to come to Norfolk. And so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that
cool
is awesome.
He was our first
Out of town.
out of town,
Not from the area.
not from the area. Neither one of us knew him that came to the show, like came here.
Yeah,
Because we
that's
did
awesome.
interview a girl from North Carolina with Students for Life.
Yeah.
And that was our first out of the
Digital.
blue
Yeah,
digital
we did that
interview.
on a Zoom.
How did you guys feel on the digital one?
I didn't hate it. It worked out all right. It was different.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it. I think it worked out good, but it
Yeah.
was a topic I had a good time with, so I was always intrigued.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just so convenient.
Yeah,
It was nice.
You know
It was
what I mean?
nice.
Like,
I do think
It
that
sucks for
there's
him to still have to come here, because he's still had to travel to get here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You're thinking convenience, like doing it from your house, and it's just you and the other person,
yeah,
like
or
the way you do it.
somebody in North Carolina.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just think you miss a little bit of the human connection.
You do.
A little bit. That was the biggest one. It's easier to talk over each other when you're on that digital version, as where we can kind of see, or this person's about to talk. It's a little bit easier to.
Way different.
Yep.
That was an interesting one. That was all. It's a pro-life
Yeah.
organization, so it was kind of a
That is
cool,
cool.
interview. And so that was another one that came across because of
That was a TikTok.
TikTok.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We had done.
We did a reaction to one of their TikToks.
Yeah, we
or
did
something.
a reaction to one of her videos, and she saw it,
That's awesome.
and then
Just connected.
yeah,
That's cool.
But she'd been on Fox News.
she's been on Fox News. Yeah, she'd been on
Yeah,
a
that's
bunch of different
crazy.
stuff.
all over. She did our Piddly Little Cup
Yeah,
podcast.
and she did it without there was no question
Yeah,
to do
I'll
it.
do it.
She didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Isn't
kinda
that
wild.
awesome when people are, I've had that before
Willing
too,
to do
where
it.
like people are just like, yeah,
Sounds good.
like, okay, what do you want? Like, how much? Like, no, yeah, I'll hop on and do it.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I'm waiting for the day that somebody asks for, well, how much you paying me? I'm like, well,
Probably not gonna happen.
probably not gonna happen. At least
I'll
not
shake
right
your
now.
hand and
Maybe
back you in the
someday.
back. Yeah.
Maybe someday. We'll buy a beer.
Yeah,
I mean,
we'll supply the alcohol and maybe some food if you want.
Yeah. So like, what are you guys hoping to do with the podcast?
I mean, we hope it grows. We hope it's a big deal
Yeah.
eventually.
Yeah.
But trying to figure out how to market it the correct way that's not overly expensive.
Yeah.
We're trying to do it by our guests.
Yep.
So we're trying to
Organically that way.
build our guest base.
kind of a grassroots thing, or organic.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't really want to. I don't know.
I think that's a
Regret-
great way
I don't
to do
want
it,
to
though.
pay for stuff.
Yeah.
No, I
And
Depends.
we've tried it a few times, not consistently, and it doesn't really work for the market we're trying to get
No, I
into.
meant for bringing people in or something. I'd rather build up to where people want to come
Yeah.
on ours.
yeah.
yeah, I would agree with you.
But right now we're kind of utilizing our guests and
They
their
share it out.
and their
Yeah.
Catch
bases
it. Yeah.
to grow.
Yeah, that's what I love.
Yeah.
That's a good way to do it.
Yeah. It's when people she didn't the one in North Carolina, she didn't really share it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Totally fine. I wasn't going to ask her to. I wasn't going to whatever. We got quite a few views on it. But would have obviously
Got a
would've
lot bigger
obviously
with her
gotten a lot
following.
bigger with her following. She's got
Yeah.
15,000 Instagram followers.
Oh, geez, yeah.
And then the Students for Life has millions. So
Uh-huh.
it would have. I was potentially thinking in my mind, if they share this out there, we could get many eyes on us, and it just didn't happen, which is fine. I wasn't going to ask for it. She came out of the goodness of her heart.
Yeah.
So
But you get one of those, and it takes off.
that's all we need.
Yeah.
We just had a Instagram reel hit 500,000 views.
Holy cow.
First time we've ever had anything do that.
And TikTok wouldn't allow that reel. Or
Yeah.
no, it's on TikTok, but only had like 10 views.
Yeah, TikTok only had like 10, not even, something
And
like
when it was like at 100,000 on Instagram, it was like 10 on TikTok.
that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was wild how the one
So
can
different.
do. Yeah, it
The
happens
same
all the
exact
time.
reel.
Happens all the time.
And then like all of our other Instagram reels, nothing, TikTok will kind of blow up.
Is that like one of the reaction ones you do?
It was a reaction when we did
Yeah.
to, it was just a funny another guy doing something funny.
Yeah.
And we reacted to it.
Isn't that
And
funny?
500,000.
How that
It's still growing. It's
That's
probably
crazy.
at 520 now.
Oh,
or
that
something
was
like
the abortion one, the UAV.
You know
That's
much
a
about Call
UAV.
of Duty?
Say that again.
Call of Duty, the game.
Yeah.
So he said, homegirl had 4 abortions, looked up and saw a plane. I said, that's a
UAV.
That's
You're
that's
you're
not
on
a plane. That's your UAV. You're on a kill streak. So it was kind of wild. It took off. It took off. And
I've
we've
never
had a few
laughed
ones.
so hard at a TikTok on the podcast as that one. Like
Yeah,
I
it's pretty
died
good.
laughing.
I don't think I've ever seen him like laugh where his face has the motion of laughing, but nothing was coming out of his mouth.
Just dead silence.
Yeah. So that was good. And we've had a few other ones, but it's been fun doing those. It sucks editing those because I do all the editing myself.
yeah.
So it's time consuming.
So what are you editing on then?
Just on Adobe
Oh, okay.
Premiere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the bummer about doing stuff when you're going to edit it, just the time.
It's time consuming.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those I get are from our other show, and that ends up usually going for like 4 hours, and then having to go back and
Find
watch
out where it's
through
at.
4 hours of film, and then
find
still
that
edit it
spot.
down and do all the stuff. It's time
Gets to be a
consuming.
lot.
Mm-hmm.
No, this one is awesome. I love doing this. You guys do a really good job with it.
Thank you. We appreciate it. We try.
Yeah.
We're trying to do more. What'd you think of the difference between the two?
Oh, I loved it.
having the more like we were
Yeah.
drilling you with questions last time, whereas this was more of a
Conversation. I
discussion.
like the back and forth
Yeah.
a little bit better, versus just
Having to
just
talk
that.
about yourself
yeah,
the whole time.
Yeah. I like the back and forth a little bit better.
Yeah, we like
At
doing
least.
those ones so that people can get to know
Yeah.
people when we bring them back on. We did the same thing with Abe,
Yeah.
where we had this more of a discussion.
Yeah.
You know, I had things I was going to ask him, and we had some like presets ready, like we did with you.
Yep.
But other than that, it was just spitball.
Yeah. I just like the back and forth. I think it's easy, and that way you're not like, you're the center
Yeah.
of attention the whole time.
As long as there are people like you and Abe who can keep a conversation going too,
Yeah.
you know, and ask questions back and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So that's
No,
good.
I would just encourage you guys. Like, I think just too many people quit too soon.
Oh, we're not quitting.
And I get discouraged all the time with stuff.
Yeah. Oh, we do
But,
too.
you know what I mean? And it's like I said, it's tough. You're like,
Yeah.
it's gonna do sucks.
Yeah. We're on a downspin on our like long form portions. It's like the audio versions have kind of taken a downturn, and then some of our last videos have taken a downturn. But we've had some good success on TikTok and Instagram, the short form stuff. But
it's
you
'cause-
got to take it. You got to take the punches and roll with them.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
people's attention span,
Mm-hmm.
10 seconds.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is why I'm trying to do more and more of the short form to
Yeah.
get them to come to the long form.
To check it out. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Time consuming though, like I said.
Yeah, that's a bummer. Outsource that to somebody in India or something.
We'll see. We'll see.
That's where a lot
It's,
of the
it's a
editors-
trusting issue for me.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
I'm
finding especially
right
on our
one.
other show, like I know things that I think is funny, what I would like to do, but having to tell somebody, hey, cut this to this and do this, and I have a hard time handing things over.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna do it.
We had a producer for a while, and I had a hard time just even doing that.
Like they would edit stuff while you're talking.
No, he
or
just
whatever.
has he likes control.
There you go.
Oh,
We'll go
Zach's
with
really
that.
good about wanting control.
hands on.
And we kind of have the same, like I can't do the type of stuff that he can do,
Yeah.
but I have the same vision he does, and we can both like look at each other sometimes when stuff's happening. Like, okay, this was where we had a chance.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it passed. It's like, all right, whatever.
Yep.
It is what it is.
But it's good. It works out.
Yeah. No, I get the hands on deal.
Yeah, he's right. It's more of a control issue.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure everything. Because what I always tell him is, if I'm in control and something gets fucked up, the only person I can blame is myself.
It's on me.
I can't blame
You're
anybody else for it.
You're way more comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Than,
I don't like having to get mad
somebody-
at people.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I was listening to something the other day, and it was like some of the most successful businesses that scale, the founder is somebody that's lazy. because they're able to delegate. Those people are able to.
I've heard that
versus
too.
Other people just do everything for them.
I can delegate. It's just
You know, and
I have
I'm
a
just
hard
like,
time
I
doing
mean,
it.
that doesn't make sense to me.
It's
But
true
maybe.
though. I've heard that same thing. People that can delegate well as leaders, they're successful because
So how does that go into like a Elon Musk, or we know he's not delegating? Dude's
he's
seems
probably
like
the
he never
best
sleeps.
delegator of all time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
But he
but
likes to
that's
keep
not, that's
control
not a
of certain
lazy
things.
person though.
No.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, maybe a different type. Like, you do this for me, so I can go do this.
Yeah.
Because I can spend
Yeah.
my time's more valuable doing
Yeah.
this than
Yes.
this remedial
So
task.
not lazy to say I'm going to give you something to do, so I
Yeah.
can just kick my feet up.
Right.
Like,
I see what you're saying.
Hey,
Why
no.
waste my time on this little tiny thing when I can make more money?
I don't want to go
for us
tighten
doing
those
this?
bolts. I want to go draw more plans for a new
Yes.
rocket. Like
Gotcha.
that type of thing.
Yeah.
whereas
Okay,
like,
I
some
see.
people
Yeah,
just get
I've heard
so
that
focused
too.
on
Yeah.
doing this little thing
Yeah.
that they can't get out of it and see.
You delegate the small tasks so you can still make the
Yeah.
the
big picture.
The big picture happen.
But yeah, at the same time, first time I heard it, I was like,
Lazy. Lazy doesn't make sense.
what?
But it's kind of like it's the same concept. Like I'm not changing my own oil.
Yeah.
It's just I'm not gonna do it. Like it's so much cheaper for me to have somebody else do it.
Yeah.
And I can do something else during that time.
Yep.
So I know some people are. Oh, I can't do that. I can't. Whatever. You
Don't
go
want
change your oil.
Plus,
then.
the podcast isn't making enough money to pay somebody to do it,
Yeah.
and we're not willing to use our own money yet.
Yeah.
We invested in all the rest of it. Well,
No, this is an awesome setup, guys.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is awesome.
And you're like I said, we'll probably invite you back again. I'm
Yeah,
sure there's
I'd
going to be
love to.
something we'll want to talk about, and
Yeah, you guys jump me anytime. I think what you're doing is awesome, so keep it rolling.
appreciate it. Thanks
What's
so
your
much.
channel for everybody?
Yeah, tell everybody about you, or where they can find you.
So YouTube, it's just Adam Olson, financial planner, is what it is on YouTube. Podcast is Money Mastery Unleashed. Right now, I'm just releasing all my books on the podcast, and so every episode is just a chapter from the book that's coming out. And so we just used AI to guy and girl going back and forth talking about the chapter.
Oh, you're not sitting down and reading it?
No, this AI tool was crazy to use.
I've seen some things like that where like there was a podcast out there on TikTok that was AI, and they finally told them the people that were manipulating it told them that they were AI, and then they had a conversation about turns out we're
Really?
not
You
here.
upload a PDF,
Yeah,
and they have a conversation about it.
that's something you've got to pay for.
No, it's open.
It's open. It's open source.
It's crazy.
What's it called?
I can't remember what it was.
Send that to me too. What else? You're gonna send me something else? Oh, that app for the.
Oh, the baseball
the
cards.
baseball
Yeah,
card. I'm
I'll
gonna write
text
all
you
this down.
later. I'll text you later. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now on the podcast. But I'm just trying to help people out, putting good information out there.
I think they're good. You've had some great guests on there.
Yeah,
So-
and I enjoy doing just like you guys enjoy doing
Yeah.
it too. I learn.
Mm-hmm.
It's a way that I learn too.
You ever
That's
get,
why I love this podcast because of the learning.
Yeah.
The other one is when I get passionate and love to go crazy on it, but I love to learn too, because there people do things and have done things that I've never done.
Yeah.
So like I'm selfish in that way.
I think it's a good balance for us to have this one though, because we do have to be a little more reserved on this podcast.
Yeah.
Whereas tomorrow we can kind of just
Let it out.
let it out and do whatever we want.
You get a little yin and yang back and forth there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice. I like it a lot. Well, thank you, sir.
No, you guys, thank you so much for asking again. It's
No
been
problem.
awesome.
It has been awesome. Thanks to my co-host Vance Neidig. Without him, the show would not be what it is. Huge thanks to Adam Olson. Really appreciate you making time for us again today. And keep on the lookout for more great episodes.